Hello and welcome to the News Minutes live telecast. I am Dhanya Rajendran. Today we are going to discuss a series that we have been doing. It's called the Prajwal Revanna videos, the Prajwal Revanna tapes, the aftermath. We've already published 2 stories in this series and a third story is coming out soon. Joining me are my colleagues Anisha, Nandini and Shivani. They were in Hassan for many days. They will of course be going back. That's the epicenter of where all these things had been happening. H.T. Revanna, the father of Prajwal Revanna, got bail and he was released yesterday. Prajwal Revanna is still absconding. He's believed to be in Germany. He's not come back. Our first story was about the survivors. Remember, there are 4 women who have complained against Prajwal Revanna of rape and sexual assault. We spoke to 3 of them. We spoke to a 4th woman who was in one of the videos, but she did not make a formal police complaint. I will go to Anisha, Nandini and Shivani about all this. Our second story, which we released only some time ago, is about the impact which Prajwal Revanna tapes have had. Many of you who were born in the 80s or 90s perhaps would remember in 2004 there was this Delhi public school MMS which had done the rounds. At that time it was a huge scandal. Imagine that 50 times more and happening in a small locality like Hassan, like Hole Narsipura, where almost everyone knows everyone. And these videos have been doing the rounds. People are trying to identify who these women in the videos are. Before I go to my colleagues, I just want to tell everyone watching that we are an ad-free platform. This reporting is possible only because of our subscribers. My colleagues will put on the comment box a subscription link. Do become a TNM subscriber. If you're already a subscriber, you can also give money or contribute to our reporting fund. That will enable Anisha, Nandini and Shivani to go again to Hassan, do more reporting because that is what the story needs, consistent and solid reporting. So become a subscriber or contribute to the reporting fund. Anisha, my first question to you, you spoke to 3 of the survivors, of which 2 of them, shockingly, are a mother and daughter duo. What did they tell you?
So the mother was working as a house help in the H.D. Revanna house, and that's when so she has alleged that Revanna lured her into a separate room on the pretext of giving her fruit, and isolated her and then molested her. Later, Prajwal Revanna, on the pretext of asking her for water, no.
Okay, it does not matter because we don't need to go into the crime in detail. The fact is that they lured her into the room and they sexually assaulted, what is her complaint.
Yeah.
But when the police, this happened in 2019, right? Around 2019 or 20. But the problem is that when the video started circulating, that's when the mother and daughter discover that they both were actually victims of sexual assault, right?
Yeah. So one of the so the daughter found a video of another woman who was working in who was employed by Revanna's family basically. So then what happened was that she went and asked her mother whether there were videos like this of her as well, and she was like, "You worked for her, right? They didn't spare her. Would they have spared you?" And the mother denied it because she just couldn't bring herself to. How does she tell this to her daughter? So every time, like, we would ask her, did you not say her daughter, did you not talk about this to anybody? She was like, no. How could I tell this to my husband? How could I tell this to my daughter? Like, I was just distressed. So basically, I think social stigma and also the distress of what had happened had, silenced her.
And also the question, right, whether people would even believe if someone says that I was sexually assaulted by someone like Prajwal Revanna or even H.T. Revanna, whether anybody would believe her. That question of believability. And then Anisha explained to me that when eventually the videos came, the mother also discovered that the daughter was one of the victims, right?
Yeah. All of this happened when they eventually went and filed a complaint with the police. So they are the mother and daughter, the woman is actually a relative of Bhavani Revanna's. So apparently Bhavani had promised them a house, she using her family influence and so on. So they have a house site in their name. And They built a house with their own money and they were evicted from that house. So all of these things have played into the kind of fear they have of the family, and eventually all these things motivated them to finally speak up. So when they decided to file a complaint, they approached the Hoda Narsipura police and so on, and they did file a complaint, and that's when they were taken to the SIT after the SIT was formed. That is when both of them discovered that each other, they were there in the videos. And like the daughter says, right, that the police kept asking her mother, there is a video of her, and she still could not bring herself to talk about the assault because uh, it was just too distressing. And finally, when the police reassured her that it wasn't her fault, that they had seen her begging and pleading in the videos, that she could finally talk about it. And it was traumatizing for both of them. And when they talked about it also on the phone to us, they kept breaking down throughout. And it's quite hard for them to talk because of the level of power that this family has. And Prajwal is alleged to have threatened her also, saying, "I'm an MP. I'll get you fired. I'll get your husband fired. Um, you know, uh, if you tell anybody, I'm not going to spare your daughter either." So
So this is a story of a woman, her daughter, and there's a granddaughter also. So in fact, in the when she was talking to Anisha, the daughter says that what if my daughter had to go through something like this? That actually, I think, gave her the energy to go ahead and file a complaint. Also, that fear, right? That there is a generation after you. What if something wrong happens to them too? So this is one family which has complained. I will of course come back to the kind of threats and pressure that they are facing now. I want to go to the other complainant, which is the third woman we spoke to. Shivani, if you could give some detail. This is the woman who was kidnapped. So this is another woman. Let's call her Mridula for now. Mridula was also working in one of the farms owned by H.T. Revanna. A day or two before the tapes were actually making around big time, somebody from the household, from Revanna's household, comes and calls her, takes her with them, and she's kidnapped. Of course, in that case, H.T. Revanna has just now got bail, and all of us were wondering why would the court give him bail in the case, considering the woman is out there saying that she was kidnapped. So, in our story, I would urge all of you to go back and read our story, in which that woman clearly tells Anisha, Shivani, and Nandini that, look, I was kidnapped, and when I was kidnapped, they made me record a video saying that nothing bad has happened to me. And that in turn was used as evidence in court. Can you explain further as to what happened to her, Shivani?
Yeah, so in the pretext of there's a case against you. This is how Revanna's henchman comes to her house and takes her back to a place called Kalanahalli near Mysuru, and she's made to stay there. And she told us on the call that Bhavani Revanna's driver comes and he asks her to shoot a video of hers saying you are safe here and nobody has kidnapped you, which is what she says in the video. And she told us that she had no idea that so and so videos of sexual abuse are being circulated online, because and this Bhavani Revanna's driver does record the video asking her to say all these things, and he also says ಇವ್ರ ಮನೆ ಅನ್ನ ತಿಂದಿದ್ಯಾ, they have helped you out, which is why this is your time to return the favor. And she then agrees to it because she is thinking she's been accused in some other random case, and she agrees to record the video. So it is so disturbing and sad because when she was kidnapped, police does come to the place where she was kidnapped and search for her, but she is so scared that she has been accused in some other case. She decides to escape from there. I mean, it's like they came for her security, and she decides to run away from them. And finally, when she goes to a relative's house, when she realizes that in the outer world, the videos of her sexual abuse that she has not told anybody about, even her sister who was working along with her, has finally been put online for everybody to see. So throughout the call, you can hear her talk. She's crying, and she's in immense distress, and there's no word I can say to describe how it was, what she was trying to tell us. And
Yeah. So for all the people watching, remember there are around 3,000 video clips. In fact, when people started reporting this number, I for one definitely thought that this must be an exaggeration. How can there be 3,000 video clips? Because anybody we spoke to kept saying there are around 3,000 video clips. But I personally confirmed this with people who have access to the pen drives, who are investigating this, and they say there were indeed around 3,000 clips. How many women were there in this, we are not sure. But imagine from these 3,000 clips, even if the lowest number which people are talking about is around 100 women, only 4 have come out to complain. And that too, they are facing tremendous pressure now. Nandini spoke to one of the women who are in the videos, but she has not filed a complaint. Nandini, could you explain what that woman told you?
Yes, so there are videos circulating. This woman uh, heard about it. In fact, she was most cruelly informed about it because people started sending her images. They started calling her up and said, "Oh, I saw you in the video." But for her reasons, she has chosen not to go forward with the complaint. Oh, it has been a very tough time. There is a lot of, she's facing social ostracization. But in her case, she does have a bit of family support, and that has helped her a lot. But it is her extended family, people she knows, she has known all her life, who are now shunning her. And it's been a very hard path. She did tell me that she had contemplated suicide, but she herself has a family, she has children, and for their sake, she decided to survive and come out of it. And she does not want to pursue it. That is left to her. But it has been a hard road because she has not complained. It also is an open field for a lot of people to attack her. Because it is all happening undercover. It is not, nobody knows what is happening. She gets calls, she gets messages, she gets nasty messages, she gets shunned professionally. She's being attacked from all sides.
Yeah. So just to sum it up, what we were talking about till now is the part 1 of our series. The link can be seen on the News Minute website. If you go to the website, the top 2 stories are these series stories. The first one is about what the survivors told us, which is what Anisha, Nandini, and Shivani have been telling us, that there are 4 women who complained. We spoke to 3 out of them, and all of them are in distress now. They have been questioned by the special investigation team. But the SIT too has been really trying to get more women to come out and speak, but they have been unable to because of the fact that most of them come from the same locality. They have ties with the JDS families, and there is also this problem of how do you explain to a policeman, how do you go and explain in a court that this was a case of sexual abuse? That even if the woman is not perhaps screaming out in the video, she was pressurized by this man, Prajwal Revanna, to have a relationship, which is what the woman who complained, the 4th woman, who we could not speak to, right? She is from the JDS, her husband too is from the JDS, and she clearly says that she was pressurized to have a relationship with him, right?
Yeah, so in the FIR, the woman says that he threatened to destroy her husband's political career and so on. And again, he threatened that, see, what is working here is the immense power that everybody knows he has. He knows he has that power. And everybody else also knows that he's not just an MP, he comes from a family where his parents, his aunt and uncle, his brother and his cousin and his grandfather have all held elected office at all levels of government, local government, both houses of state legislature and both houses of parliament. Everybody knows the kind of power that they have. So it becomes very hard for somebody to act independently in such a situation, and that's something I think that we need to keep in mind when we try to understand what is happening here.
And plus look at the politics that has been playing out. For example, HT Kumaraswamy coming out and saying multiple times that this is an attack on the Vokkaliga community. There's a way to ensure that Vokkaligas do not have political power. The BJP, which has in many ways indirectly and directly supporting the JDS, right? And this man is also a candidate from Hassan. In all probability, he may even win the election. You never know. That's what a lot of people are saying, that he may end up winning the election. What is the BJP going to say then? Before I go to the next section, which is the next story, I just want to tell everybody watching again that this reporting is possible only because of our readers, of our viewers, people who subscribe to the News Minute. We are an ad-free platform. So I do request you to become subscribers, power our journalism, help us to keep looking at the story, because this we feel is an indicator of how a society will react. of how people will react, of how politicians will react when something like this happens. I think a parallel can be drawn to what happened, maybe at a much lower scale, how Kerala reacted when the whole Dilip Pulsar Suni event happened, right? How did they react as society? So, second story that we have done, which has been released today, is the social impact that this has had. But before I go to that, one quick question, Nandini. What has really surprised me is that this Prajwal Revanna is still absconding, and there is absolutely no conversation around it beyond people asking what. In the sense, Siddaramaiah has written to the government saying cancel his diplomatic passport. We have no word from the union government, from the MEA. The Prime Minister says we will not spare him, but what is the evidence that you are doing anything to ensure that he at least comes back?
So far, we have nothing actually. There has been no attempt, or we don't know what they have been doing. In fact, the only thing we hear about are rumors from time to time that he's supposed to come back. But from the side of the government itself or the SIT, we don't really know, because the focus has now changed to a lot about who circulated the videos, and it has given enough space to for the party JDS party workers and members also to circulate enough suspicion that is it really him, is he being targeted, is he being victimized, this is a conspiracy by the other political parties to bring him down. So in that, we don't really know what is being done to bring him back.
No,
Is it
imagine. So instead of focusing all the energy on bringing somebody like Prajwal Revanna back and ensuring that he faces the music for the things that he's accused of, we're talking about everything else. What is the politics? Who is targeting who? Whether this is true or false? And in between that, there is absolutely no word from the BJP or the JDS about, are they asking him to come back? I mean, have they told Prajwal Revanna, okay, fine, you're innocent, you come back and face the law then, right? There is no word. And as far as the SIT is concerned, I have been asking the SIT almost on a daily basis, are you sending people abroad? They said, no, our focus remains on getting victim statements, getting corroborative statements, and ensuring that more women come out. I don't know whether the SIT should also be further doing something to ensure that this guy is arrested, right?
Yes, definitely. Even the BJP, which talks about getting him, that he should answer for his crimes if he's responsible, since they're in the union government, but we haven't had any statement from them about if the Ministry of Home Affairs has done anything about it. I am told that it is possible to cancel his diplomatic passport in case the Home Ministry thinks that he's necessary for a criminal investigation. But we haven't had anything. It's all elections. There is a lot of diversion in the name of elections, so people are concentrating more on that. And again, there is a lot of, because his father, Revanna, was arrested as well. Now there is a lot of sympathy being raised that he was also caught up in this, and there is a lot of shifting. So nobody's really talking. Nobody's really talking how he was able to leave so easily. Everybody says, oh no, we had no idea that he was about to leave for Frankfurt or Germany, as we are told that he left. There is no attempt to figure out whether they're going to bring him back. So when we ask, it is right, like you said, there is focus on the women's statements. They want more women.
No, so I think that is the reason why journalists like us, people out there watching this, we have to constantly ask only two things. What is the action against Prajwal Revanna? Why is he not being brought back? What are the courts doing about it? What is the government doing about it? What is the police doing about it? And the second question that we have to all continuously ask, and that is not for today, that is for months to come, is how are we going to protect these women? They have come forward showing tremendous courage to file these complaints against a powerful family. How are they going to be protected? That's something that we have been raising, right? For example, the mother and daughter duo, who are both who are both in the videos. In fact, the mother's video, you can actually see her begging for mercy. She has filed a complaint and she does not have a house to go back to. Like Anisha was saying, that the house has been taken over by someone. This is a conversation we have been having with the government too, as to how are you going to protect these people, right, Anisha?
Yeah, so far there has been little action on that. It doesn't appear that anybody in government has actually given a thought to what is going to happen to these women when they go back. I mean, they can't remain here endlessly in Bangalore, right? They have lives to get back to, they have kids to send to school and so on. And right now, both these women's this family's children are here in Bangalore with them, and they're not allowed to go out because, well,
They're in safe
underst-
houses now.
yeah, they're in safe houses for understandable reasons, but for the time being they're not allowed to go out, right? But eventually they will get back to their lives, right? Because this cannot be allowed to remain the defining feature of their lives. They have to go back. So once they don't have a house to go back to, and they're daily wage workers, they do domestic work, and the kind of abuse that this woman, Bhavani's relative, the complainant, she has suffered in that house is terrible. Being abused with swear words left, right, and center for the littlest of things. So it's been hard for them, and now there's a huge question mark as to what they'll actually do when they go back. They don't have jobs and so on, and who's going to hire them now that they've complained? So they're worried about that.
So we did ask the government a couple of times, and we had put out a story yesterday in our political newsletter called the Power Trip. We'll put the link in the chat. So basically, what we were told is that there is a provision in the Home Department which allows the government to give protection to victims. Now the point is for how long, right? Which also means that the charge sheet has to be filed fast, that the government should ensure that the speedy trial happens, and during the entire trial, these women are protected. I want to quickly go to Shivani now, where I will talk about the second story. The second story is about the social impact these tapes have. In the beginning, I told you it's like 30, 40 times of a DPS MMS which did the rounds in 2004 when I had just started reporting, and everybody was shocked about the visuals they saw. Here, a lot of people are watching these visuals. Shivani has spoken to many young people who find themselves extremely confused as to what is happening.
Yeah, I mean, one conversation that stands out for me throughout is this conversation I had with a 20-year-old girl, a student. So, like, I initially she was very hesitant to tell me if she had actually watched the video, and then eventually she admits that she had watched the video, and she received it on, these WhatsApp local groups where, like, male acquaintances in the neighborhood would share the video, and she finally watched the video of, this, and then she then goes on to tell me that if this is the like she describes the contents of the video, and then she tells me if this is what marriage is, I don't want to get married. So she kind of correlates marriage to sexual activity, and it is quite confusing for them as well to understand how like sexual activity works. And we're talking about like 20-year-olds who are probably not exposed to these kind of videos. I mean, I understand things are readily available online, but this is, we're talking about their own MP, somebody that they see every day, and to be watching such thing. And there's this.
And we spoke to a lot of young people who have seen videos featuring women who they actually know in their personal life, like a neighbor, somebody who they have seen, somebody who they have known, and they are really shocked. They do not know how to look at it, because the whole that whole thin line of the power that a man has over a woman, and how that power can enable structures of abuse, that is still not something that a lot of people talk about, right? I mean, when there is a video, for example, of the complainants, where it is very evident from the video that they're resisting it, that there is no consensuality there, people have no doubts about those videos. But there are some videos which people are not able to understand. There's a whole conversation around it. And if you look at our story, there are some disturbing screenshots in the second story, that is, these screenshots are from Instagram and Facebook and Telegram, where people are selling these videos. People are saying, send me your number, I will send your videos. Right? So all kinds of things are happening here.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the most disturbing things about this is that we are only watching the visuals and hearing the audio, right? We don't know any other context in which all these acts have occurred, right? So that is also something that the visuals are really powerful, and that is something that people don't quite understand as to how powerful they can be, because these visuals will stay with people. And already when it comes to, say, gender relations, the dice is loaded against women. And that is also something that we need to keep in mind. And young people are likely to make associations about sex, about marriage, when they watch these videos, right? Because they may not have any prior knowledge about any of these things. And one of the most troubling things is that they tend to look at this as something that may happen to them. right? They're picking up all these ideas about sex and marriage and all of that from these videos when they have no other knowledge about what a respectful relationship can and should look like. They have no concept of respect because in a relationship, because that's never told to you as a society.
No, so people must be wondering why are we using terms such as sex and marriage in this. I'll quickly explain it to you. The reason is that not everybody has got all the videos on their phone. People get one video, maybe they get two videos. They see snaps of a video on Instagram. Most people have not got any videos where the assault is very visibly understandable. All the others have got videos which have confused them. So it's also important for us to address that. So let me keep repeating that our main focus has to be on Prajwal Revanna, the criminality, what is the government, the police doing about it. The second is how to protect these women and how to ensure that more women come out and file complaints. And that is something that we will keep talking about. Before I wrap up, I want to tell you about our third story. We will look at Prajwal Revanna, the politician. In fact, when we were discussing stories, all four of us and my colleague Pooja Prasanna, we were actually thinking, what is it about Prajwal Revanna that he could do all this and get away with it? Because it's such a small place, there has to be gossip first thing of this happening, and there has to be some repercussion immediately, right? Because we have spoken to so many people who said that they knew that even when a group of people went to the house to see him, he would single out women and take them inside. That there are people who knew about it, at least heard about it, right? Therefore, what is it that makes him so, audacious that he went on doing this for many years, which is what we will be looking at in the profile that we will be putting out on Friday. That is perhaps the end of this series, but we will keep reporting more and more. There is some news that Prajwal Revanna could come back tonight. This is something that we keep hearing. I don't know if that will happen. I probably feel that he will come back after all the phase of the election is over, because that will be convenient for everybody. But if he does, we will be there. We'll keep asking questions. But Anisha, to just a last comment from all of you before we wrap up, how important it is now that these women are protected, who are the four complainants who have come forward, especially looking at what happened to Mridula, where a video, Mridula is not her real name, where a video was recorded where she was made to say that nothing wrong happened to her.
That is, I think, a very, very interesting, it's a very stark example of just how much power this family has. They threatened her before when they assaulted her, when Prajwal allegedly assaulted her. But when it came to this, all they had to do was tell her that the cops are looking for her for a case like that. That did the trick. She was terrified out of her wits, all on her own. And when the police actually reached, they actually found her, right? But her fear prompted her to run away from them because she thought that she's going to be arrested. And at the same time, she told us that she thought that they would do something to her family, to her children. So that fear itself tells you just how much, how terrified they are. And if the government doesn't take this seriously, I mean, I don't know what to say as a journalist or as a, as a woman, like, how do you not take this seriously? Why has no thought been given to this until now? And that's a question I think we should be asking the government. And in fact, a lot of civil society groups have been raising this point and asking the government to make arrangements for the protection of these women.
Nandini, was the bail given to H.T. Revanna really a disappointment? I saw pictures of people celebrating in Hassan, and he's allowed to go back to Hassan, right?
He's allowed to go back to Hassan city and Holenarsipura, but he's not. He's been told not to enter Nagra district, Nagra taluk, sorry, where the one of the complainants is from. It was disappointing because the kidnap video, the video where the woman said that there was no problem, that she has not been kidnapped, this was released a day before the hearing. That was day before yesterday. And we saw that it was circulated as, oh, the woman here tells you the truth. She has not really been kidnapped. This is the truth for you. But we do know, because we spoke to her after she made the video, that she was clearly coaxed into making it. So what does that mean, really? We know a lot of these women in the videos are also party members, wives of party members. So it doesn't take much to realize that if they do not come out now, it will be difficult for them because somebody or the other is going to be telling them that, you know what, keep quiet about it. This is not a good thing to go ahead with. This will destroy your future. There are 100 fears they can raise in a complainant. So they don't need to come forward. So, and the SIT has to be more proactive in tracing because not all the videos are in the public domain yet. Like you said, some of them have, there are not all of them. They will keep releasing them and it is going to cause havoc. But it is very important to track these women and see that they will lodge a complaint now.
Okay, so I'll go to the final question to Shivani, but before that, to wrap up for the viewers, do go to the first story, which Anisha and Nandini were talking about. You can see the woman called Mridula. We have changed all the names. We don't mention which villages they come from because that's a policy we follow. The woman clearly says in that story that I was made to record a video. We have been trying to ask the prosecutors as to why the court did not take that into consideration, that she was under pressure to make a video to absolve HT Revanna. We will have a story on that too as part of the series, but the main three stories are the ones I described. The third story will come out on Friday, telling all of you again that none of this is possible if we do not have subscribers, if we do not have people who believe in the stuff that we do and contribute to our reporting fund. Shivani, you're the youngest of the lot here. I mean, that's also a bit of an ageist thing. Shivani, the youngest of the lot here. This is the first time that you're reporting something like this. How difficult was it for you to really grasp all that is happening around you, right? And trust me, every time I would pick up the call to ask Shivani what is happening, I know that she's already packing her bag to go to Hassan because she doesn't want questions. She just wants to be in Hassan. And she kept telling me, I don't want to come back. Can I stay 2 more days? I want to meet more people. She'll be going back again in 1 or 2 days. But how did this whole thing seem to you?
I do not have words for it, frankly, because it took me a while to understand what was happening, and thankfully, like Anisha and Nandini were there who helped me understand what happened, and also in case if I was just wandering off or trying to be very personal about things that were happening, because it does make me angry, some of the things when I hear people say, or when I'm speaking to people of Hassan, or especially the students that I spoke to. For me, that is something I want to go back and actually want to speak to that student and tell her what the notion of sexual activity that you have is totally wrong. Please go speak to your parents or speak to elders or speak to people who can actually help you, because I kind of regret it, because at that time I was not able to because I am 24 and she was a 20-year-old. It is all new to me as well. So I just regret that moment where I couldn't tell her whatever you're thinking is not really the truth, and you can gather help and there are people who will help you. That, but apart from that, it's listening to the victims, survivors talk. It was I mean, even translating what they were saying, because Kannada is also what the language they speak, and for us, and to grasp all of that, I really don't have a word for it. And a lot of the people actually tell me this would have been triggering or mentally affecting, exhausting, and all of those things. And yeah, it did, but I am actually glad I had my editor and my bureau chief and my editor-in-chief there, because I'm not just saying for the sake of this, mind you, because they have been constantly there, and I know if I need any kind of help in understanding what is happening, they have always been there, the number one. And I do bug their heads to make me understand, or tell me what is happening if I'm going off the charts. Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, this has been a very confusing time for people in Hassan, and even for I think people who are watching, right, on TV channels, etc. Because so many times when the media is crossing the line. So I just want to wrap up the live, but I want to tell our readers we have done a lot of coverage. In fact, some of the stories you should read is I think the first story that Anisha and Shivani had done about the fear in that village. It was a video story. You can go down on a timeline and check the fear in the village to even just speak about this family, in that district to speak about the family. Then about the caste equations here. They are powerful Vokkaligas. And HT Revanna, especially how casteist he has been. We have had Dalit groups speaking to us about that. The same complaint was not told about HT Devagowda, the grandfather, but it was spoken about HT Revanna, the son. So do go back to that story. All three of them have done another story about how there is a kama language, especially in the Kannada media, where they call him kama as in lust, right? What are the words they have used for him, for describing this?
Kamuka means
Lover.
sex crazed,
Okay.
sex maniac. It would translate to something like that. Kamakanda, which basically means like uh, debauched.
Anyway, lot of words, lot of
A
words
terrible
using.
language which should not be used for something like this, because there's a lot of power involved, there's a lot of potential for abuse involved, and this is not, it's not just inaccurate, it is inappropriate. So yeah, the words, the language that they've used are
Yeah,
terrible.
Shivani, you want to say something?
Yeah, I do want to say something. Is basically that, you know, as a young reporter, you don't get to do larger stories like this, or you're like, you know, often. I know for sure, like my contemporaries who would probably be in Bangalore and do stories, or like be on desk, because the kind of opportunities I get at the News Minute is because of you guys. So I really urge you people to please contribute to our Hasan Reporting Fund, so we can actually go on ground again, report on this, and bring you more stories.
That's basically Shivani doing an anticipatory thing, because she knows at some point I'll say that, but you know, how many days can we stay back in Hassan? Anyway, so do read all these stories. And tomorrow, I think on Friday, we have a Let Me Explain by my colleague Pooja Prasanna, where we speak about something more important, which is about courts giving gag orders. Even in this, I mean, sorry, it's coming out today, I think. It's basically an episode about the number of gag orders that Bangalore courts have given, including in the Prajwal Revanna case, where he got a gag order stopping the media from reporting about tapes on him. This happened in last year, he got the gag order, and now his grandfather and uncle have gotten a partial gag order. So Pooja's Let Me Explain will tell you there are around 6,000 cases against media houses in Karnataka, and why that is simply unacceptable. So thank you to everyone who joined us on this live, and do keep reading, do keep watching. And in case there is something that you thought is right about the story, wrong about the story, or you want more information, do write to us. You can write to members at thenewsminute.com. You can write to Dhanya Rajendran at thenewsminute.com. We will see how we can respond to all that. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching.